But I was saying yes because I wanted to be down. I want to be down. Well, what you going through? I want to be down.
It's Tiana Will, and you're listening to the Tea Talks.
What's popping? You are now tuned into the Tea Talks, aka Talks with T. You know me, it's your girl Tiana Woe, and I am back with another episode. If you are a new listener, welcome. And as always, this podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and you can also watch this full episode on YouTube at the Tea Talks Pod. This is a space for real conversations, honest advice, laughs, and a little bit of I said what I said energy. There are no topics that are off limits, so let's get into it. All right, so of course, what's new with me? If you are watching, I've switched my location again. Change locations. What's that song? I think it's changing locations with like Drake and Lil Baby and all them. Anywho, we are currently in my childhood room. I wanted to get some colorful background. Obviously, if you can't already tell, my favorite color is purple. So I felt like this was like a cute little aesthetic. I'm trying to fill all the vibes out and just see what works best for me on this podcasting journey as I am, the producer, the executive, the visuals, I don't know, I'm the audio tech, I'm the screenwriter. I'm everything, the editor, all in one. So this is where I'm at, and I don't know. I'm kind of liking it also because like I can store all my stuff in the closet. So we shall see, and it's pretty quiet, so I like that. But yeah, so other than my new little studio setup, things that have been going on with me since the last episode. I am currently in my second week of the Daniel fast, and it is going well. I cannot complain. I have a love for tofu at this point and learned that I had a lot of protein. I do feel very bad for my husband as he is constantly getting food and going out, so that kind of breaks my little heart for him. I also went to the MLK parade on Monday, and that was super cool. I love seeing like everyone that I seen. I usually always go to the MLK parade, but I usually tend to bring the kids with me, but I didn't do that this time. I was just out there supporting my peoples. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel like being around a bunch of people, I got a little bug. And I was sick, I think, like my first episode. And now and Brandon is sick right now. That's my husband's name, if you don't know. But Brandon's sick right now, like all congested. And he could have got me sick too. But I had just gotten over being sick, like coughing, stuffed up, all kinds of things. So I feel like it just being around a lot of people too just was like, here you go. You're going to get a little bug too. So if I sound like a little stuffy, that is why. And I'm very upset about it. Another thing is I got a notification that I'll be graduating soon. Woo, go me. I am going to be graduating with my master's in public administration with an emphasis in healthcare management. And that is going to be in April. And I am so excited. It has been a long time coming. I originally started my master's degree journey going to the public health route. And then I already got my bachelor's degree in public health. And me, biased opinion, I feel like master's degrees in public health are for people who, this is like real bias. no shade, no tea, but all shade and tea, in my opinion, I guess, is I don't know. I feel like they're for people who they wanted to do like something scientific, but then they was like, I'm just gonna get my master's of public health. And then they just kind of like, they act like they're like the most public health person ever. I don't know. Because having to go through 4 years of public health, and then I kind of got into the program for mass public health, and I was just like, yeah, I already do all of this stuff every day. And my bachelor's degree like expanded on it so much. So I feel like just seeing the master's degree program for public health, and I was just like, dang. Anywho, like I said, I'm I don't know. I'm biased. It is what it is. Call it what you want, baby. But I'm so happy to. So I was saying that to say. Then I just quit. Like I literally just quit going because I just hated the program, especially because I already did the work. And I'm not saying that you can't already be doing the work and not love your program, but I definitely like things that are gonna help me grow in areas that I don't already know, but like have maybe a little knowledge in. And that was what made me go back. And the lady was like, well, what would you want to do? And I was like, not public health. If you could figure out how I can get out of that program, I will come back to school and I'll give y'all some money. And so I told her the program that I wanted, which was the public administration, if it's a healthcare. And I had to submit like a letter to like the some group of people. And she was like, this is the first time I've ever seen a letter actually get approved. So I felt like that girl in that moment. So, I this is why I feel like anything is possible for me because I be baby, I be getting it done. Okay. Anything I want, I could have. Or at least I wouldn't say anything I want, but anything that is for me definitely comes to me. And there's that. Anywho, so I have inquired about my doctor's degree. So I will be a professional student for the rest of my life. And I know sometimes people ask like, why do people continue to go get degrees? Because what do they mean? I actually love to learn. I'm not going to lie to you. I enjoy learning new things. That's why if you see me, you see that I try a lot of things. I'm always doing something. I'm trying to figure it out always. So that's like why I feel like I go and get more degrees. But I also do it because the field that I work in, because I work technically in public administration, but more on the healthcare side. And so I think credentials mean something in that area. And I want to be taken seriously. And if that means being taken seriously because I have a degree, then so be it. Yeah. So Dr. Wright is on her way. Okay. And I absolutely cannot wait. So I look forward to that. And then lastly, I got so many things going on. Like, just how many great news for me, right? I planned a cruise for the summer for me and my hubby. And I'm so excited. It's a Carnival cruise and it is for 4 days. And we're leaving out of Miami. And this will be my 12th cruise. So I'm super excited. And I think we're also going to stay in Miami for a little bit. And I will be so happy about that too because your girl finna be on a yacht. I'm about to be jet skiing on the Miami shores. I'm about to get this body tea so I can be on like Baywatch. You feel me? So watch out. Miami, here I come. Okay. Those are all the updates with me. So hopefully I'll keep you guys updated with those throughout the year or the next couple months and everything. But anywho, so let's get into today's topic. And today we're going to be talking about things that you wish you knew before you got into adulthood, but also just like in life in general. So we did get one comment related to this week's topic, and this listener said, I wish someone would have, I'm so sorry, let me get my words together. I wish someone would have taught me grace, grace for myself mainly. As a wife and mom, it's easy to give it to everyone else except myself, and to love myself before giving myself to someone else. It's hard to learn to love yourself after marriage and kids without ever knowing how to have done it in the first place. Ladies, love yourself and always give yourself grace. You deserve it. First of all, so sweet. I love the message for the girls at the end. But I do want to say thank you for submitting your comments. I really appreciate it, especially being so vulnerable and sharing your experience of giving yourself grace, but also in the stages that you are in, right? Being mindful that you have to give grace to yourself as a wife, but also as a mom, because juggling those those two hats in general is a lot. Because I can, I mean, everyone can see how much a mom does, just a parent in general, but how much a mom does. I'm gonna give credit to the mom because, I mean, look at my mom. She lets me do whatever I want when I want. So I know that it takes a lot, and to make sure that it's hard to make sure that you take time for yourself in those situations, right? So I do think grace ties perfectly into what we are talking about this week, because grace is one of the biggest things that are misunderstood in the beginning of our lives, and like kind of like early childhood. And I want to go on to the definition of grace, and I just typed in Google, what does grace mean? And it says grace means elegance, beauty, or charm in movement and manner, but its deeper sense, usually tied to religion, signifies God's free, unmerited favor, love, and divine help given to people, enabling them to overcome sin, find favor, and achieve spiritual goals, often described as underserved, yes. Here I go. Here I go again. Got to make sure I can read, right? But underserved kindness or a gift. Um, and I think that's probably a lot. But I feel like grace is kind of just like in the simplest term, because I like simple things, right? We all love simple things. Grace is just giving yourself the benefit of the doubt, right? It's more so taking it easy on yourself. I'm gonna just give you grace. It's like kind of like I'm gonna lay you down gently. I feel like that's what grace is. Grace is I'm gonna handle you gently. I'm gonna lay you down gently. I'm going to give you like a pass. And not that you're overlooking. It's just like we're gonna breathe. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna woo-saw in this moment. That's what grace is. I feel in the simple terms. I like simple generic. Y'all know me because that was a big definition. And I think another thing is like we give grace easily to our friends, our family, our partners, our kids, our coworkers, right? But then we kind of forget about ourselves, and we're just so hard on ourselves. And things that we're hard on ourselves about can be, I think I was talking about earlier, getting a degree, getting a better job, being even a better parent, not giving yourself the opportunity to recognize that you still have things to learn, you still have things to grow through. And that is what the power of grace does, is reminding you that you can be a little bit more gentle on yourself when you're trying to reach whatever those goals are, or achievements, or just milestones in life. Because most of the time when you're not being are providing yourself grace, it's usually when you're trying to get somewhere or be something, right? And it's just important to know that you don't have to have everything figured out to be worthy of rest when it comes to grace. So at the end of the day, just have grace. Um, because even though it probably wasn't something that came easy as we were kids or just like, as younger people, I think now it's important to give yourself a lot of grace. And I think to because we get to see more of the fact that, again, back to last week's episode, we are all living the same lives. And I also want to say, before I say we're all living the same lives, I'm not saying that we are experiencing life the same way, but you are not the only one that might be going through something. So it's okay to give yourself grace, especially like when you hear stories about like people talk about how they overcame their failures and stuff. It's because they gave themselves grace to recognize like it's okay to fail, but I got to get back up. That's a grace. Like that that's technically what that is. Like you fall gracefully, but you get back up gracefully as well. So the other thing, like another thing talking about things we knew sooner, or at least I did, is I wish I knew like healthy habits. Because I am a person who I do a lot of things and then I don't finish. I used to call myself the like I'm not a finisher. I don't finish nothing. But I mean I finished like my degrees obviously. But as far as like my little side hustles and stuff, they always just fall off sometime most of the time. Um and then they kind of just collect dust. It's kind of like my friend said. She came um, over the holidays and she was like, look at your business just sitting here, my lash business, just sitting here collecting dust. And I was like, you right, because all it takes is $70 for me to get my license renewed. What am I doing? But at the end of the day, it was because I didn't have a healthy habit of finishing or continuing things. I always got an excuse on why I ain't got time. And don't get me wrong, like I definitely got a job and I didn't have the availability for lashes, but it's like I got some time for y'all to get some lashes in. But yeah. And anywho, so talking about healthy habits, right? So I'm always motivated to do things and like I'm pumped, I'm hyped, but I don't continue to stay through those things, right? So it's about making sure that I keep that motivation going. So some of the things that I have struggled with um, when it comes to having a healthy habit for them is I've struggled with like healthy eating, working out, like I mentioned, my side hustles. And I feel like this is the year that I will develop healthy habits for those things. And I was telling my mom an example of something that I knew that I wanted to make a habit was going to church. And obviously like not going to church like every Sunday. Not that I'm opposed. Hold on now. I'm just saying like I wanted to make sure that I was active in the church and as far as like an attendee, whatever that looked like. And I will say that I definitely go to church like 60% of the year. And to going for not going in person for so long, like that was something. So like it's definitely like a habit of like I know my Sundays I'm gonna get up in the morning and go to church. So one thing that I want to talk about too is I know that habits come with time, and there is a saying in academia. And y'all know I love to bring to y'all some scholarly things or, just some theories and stuff like that. I like to teach here. I'm a teacher. And they say in academia that it takes 66 days to create a habit. And I found this rule while I was looking it up, and they call it the 333 rule. Um, and it says the first 3 days are the hardest, and then 3 weeks of consistency, and then 3 months leads to a habit. And pretty much they were saying like you really need 60 days plus to develop a habit. So right now for me, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to lose up to 50 pounds. And I used to always hear that to develop a habit you need 21 days. No, because after 21 days I turn into 21 Savage. And at that point ain't nothing happening. I'm still the same person. So it makes more sense why you would have to do something for a longer period of time. So I'm putting this 333 thing in full motion. I done already got past my 3 hardest days. So I'm pretty pumped about using this rule, and y'all gonna see me in 3 months looking like a baddie. So the next thing that I wish I knew how to do sooner was definitely say no. I was not a person who would say no soon. I always felt bad if I said no. And I also feel like I was very much a people pleaser. So I wish people would have said, like, don't be people pleasing people. Like, say no, but also don't be people pleasing, because that's what makes you say yes. Or at least that's what I was saying yes to. Like, I knew I didn't like certain stuff, but I was saying yes because I wanted to be down. I want to be down. Well, what you going through? I want to be down. Ah. Yeah, that was me. So, um, definitely tell people to say no. Like not if I have, when I have kids, I will for sure be telling them no. Like even my niece, like I taught her to, if she don't want to do something, say you don't want to do it. Cause she used to always be like, um, well, and don't get me wrong, like she tell me no all the time. And I'm like, ugh, why I teach that girl to say no? But I feel so glad to know that I taught her to do something at such a young age, because then she won't do stuff she don't want to do. And yeah, because Shorty for sure be like, I don't want to do that. I be like, oh my gosh, do you want to do this? She be like, no. I be like, do you want to go with me? No. Of course, there's times where I'm like, girl, you're coming. Let's go. Get up. Let's go. But she knows like when she can't not go. But yes, learning to say no, and then also not people pleasing. Like those two go hand in hand. And the next thing that I wish and see, it's not that somebody didn't tell me, because let me tell you. So I'm talking about money and managing it. And before I sit here and act like somebody didn't tell me about it, my dad definitely used to talk to me about money all the time. All the time. Did I listen? Absolutely not. Of course not. And I can say, in my honest opinion, that personally, like, I don't feel like I do a good job managing my money. Um, which is so crazy because professionally, like at work, I have had to manage $1 million budgets. I'm talking $1 million budgets, $45 million budgets to be exact. And I was fantastic. I mean, fabulous. I got you to the dollar. My own? Oh no, I'm playing around. I'm playing games. Like, it's just not making sense. And I also think that my problem is I just want to live my life, you know? So, like, money to me, not that and don't get me wrong, like, when I have to save, I can save. Like, it's not even that. It's just, like, I need to have at least, like, 10 racks saved up in a savings. I need to have, like, that to me is when I'm, like, actively doing a fantastic job. At this moment, I am not. But I used to um do like an Excel spreadsheet like I used to do at work and like show all my expenses and show where I would be at and then kind of calculate things. And that fell off. Again, not a healthy habit because just didn't learn that soon enough. But I do think I should start incorporating that again now that I'm talking about it. But also, I am like an impulsive buyer, I feel like. And what I mean by that is and I'm not buying like expensive stuff. I'm sure people could tell I ain't no girl, no designer. I'm definitely like, even before Coach got his life back together, I was down with Coach. Okay, I've been down with Coach. I'm still down with Michael Kors. I'm down with Steve Madden. I'm down with everybody still that I was down with when I was in high school. Okay, I'm rocking with the OGs. I ain't made it to the big leagues yet. Okay, and if I do make it to the big leagues, I'm letting you know right now they will be hand me downs, okay? Unless they want to give it to me because they want me to, like, showcase that I have a Balenciaga or um I don't know much about bags, so I have no idea. A Dior, a Christian Dior, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, cuz if you know anything about me, I'm gonna let you know right now. If you see me with a designer bag today, just know one day I was in New York and I was on Canal. Okay? Check the receipts, baby. But no, in all seriousness, I definitely don't buy like crazy things. But like if I see something like arts and crafts that I want to make, like I'm going to the store that day. Or and I'm not I don't know. Like some things I just feel like I could have just waited. So that's what I mean when I say I impulsively buy things. But, having this conversation, I will be working on my Excel sheet that I used to always work on. So I look forward to that. And I do, at the end of the day, still wish that I just kind of wish when it comes to money, like I've visually seen stuff. I'm such a visual learner that I think if somebody like put up their bank account and then like took me with them for a week or something and then like showed me stuff or like showed me through a month, I I don't think I did well just sitting there getting yelled at about why certain things are a certain way. I don't know. But yeah, that those are the things I kind of wish I did a little bit better about. And moving on to some things that I felt like came natural to me that I didn't really need people to tell me about or warn me about life would and that I want people to take going forward. So if you're watching this or listening, is for sure don't care so much about what people think. I didn't really care too much about what people thought about me. I probably still don't care too much about what people think about me. Um Also, making sure you apologize when you are wrong. It's important to take accountability when you need to. I think that helps with relationships and communication and just being able to overcome challenges when you do take accountability. And then also reflecting instead of reacting. So, similar to like listen to understand, not listen to respond. I grew up in a house where, you couldn't really speak up for yourself. So, a lot of times as an adult, I did something wrong, but I was so quick to be defensive. And I think there are times where I still do that, but I'm quick to check myself. Like, I am like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm listening to you. My bad. It was all me. Like, and that's the reason why, like, I know we're not perfect, but we also need grace. So it's crazy how, like, all these things can still tie together because I still need grace, knowing that I have to overcome habits that I kind of grew up learning, but knew as an adult that I couldn't react that way. And so that is something that, I definitely work on. And I think it's very important to incorporate in your adulthood in all your relationships and just in life in general, right? And then the other thing that I think I wish people knew more about too was understanding that you are your own person, especially in relationships, whether they're romantic or they are platonic. Oh, I remember the word platonic. Um, and I say this because sometimes we can react to someone not feeling the same way as we do about something, and then we begin to create this narrative or idea in our mind that something is wrong with that person or kind of question their thinking. But we do have to understand that that person experiences life completely different than us. And for example, like what happens to me when I go outside as a black woman may not be the same experience as a white woman who goes outside, right? And even if we say like not even taking like racial things into play, like if the clothes that I'm wearing or the car that I drive or the facial expression that I have in that moment is going to change or affect how people interact with me. And it's also including the type of environment that I'm in growing up or just even as an adult. And we have to recognize that we don't all have that same upbringing or environment. And I feel like I'm taking you guys on a tangent in a sense, but it's similar to that theory. Like if you have siblings and you say that you have the same parents, they say you didn't grow up with the same parents because the parent might treat you different than the other child. The parent might have more money than they did with the other child. So you're kind of experiencing your parents even differently. So I'm saying this to say, once you understand that you are your own person, you kind of stop hyper focusing on decisions or reasonings why someone does something or says something in a relationship or a friendship. And I'm only talking about positive things. So I'm not talking about nothing negative. I'm talking about like normal things that are not crazy and off the wall and outlandish. Um, so like I'm not talking like about political views. I guess I should probably say that. Like not political views in a sense, but things like probably that you have in common, but the reaction is different. So like for example, I'm very social, but Brandon is not as social as I am, and we could be in the same environment and he could be absolutely having a good time, but in my opinion, I look like I'm having a ball cuz I'm over here crowd surfing and he's just like standing on the wall nodding his head. I'm gonna be like, "Oh, you're not having as much fun as me," and he's like, "I'm having a great time." What do you mean? But like, I have this idea like, well, you'd be crowd surfing if you were if you were having a good time, but it's like, no, that's not the case. So that's kind of like my reason is to remember like a person is not the same as you, and once you kind of do that, you it kind of just makes things a lot easier to where you don't react so quickly to things that are different from how you're like processing stuff or like evaluating or questioning things. And like I said, I'm not talking about nothing crazy off the wall like politics and all that kind of stuff because maybe those people need to go see a doctor. But I'm just saying um in regards to just like how they might express themselves or feel about a situation or whatever, because I have to do that a lot in my relationship, and it definitely helps because I kind of focus more on me, but then make sure I give like the amount that I need to do in my relationship. Hopefully that all made sense. If not, I apologize and thank you so much for listening. But on a funnier note, this might not be that. This ain't even that funny. I don't even know why. On a serious note, actually, um, two more things. I don't wish, people told me, but make sure you use condoms for real or get tested before you have unprotected sex because STDs do not discriminate. And I myself thought I would never in my life get an STD, and I most definitely did. And I got an STD when I was in a relationship. So the first time I got an STD, and I'm saying the first time because I unfortunately got chlamydia 2 times in my life. Um, but when I was in a relationship with one of my exes, yeah. So it's like you can't even trust the ones you with. So you gotta make sure you know what I'm saying. Keep them checked. Make sure you use that condom. And then lastly, which is very important in my eyes, make sure that you cry. Cry when you need to, baby girl. Cry when you need to, or baby boy, if I got my male listeners too. But cry if you need to. Please do. Because I cry, put on that raw wave, have you a good crying session, and let that shit out. Because ain't nothing wrong with a little tear. Ain't nothing wrong with releasing those emotions, happy tears, sad tears, depressed tears, whatever they are. Get that shit out and then move on. Pick yourself up and, you know, pick yourself up. But I will say cry. Cry when you need to because I'm trying to tell you, it's such a great release. It is such a great release. All right, so that's it, kind of like related to the topic. um about, kind of things that I wish were said to me or things I just wish I incorporated in adulthood and realized. Now we're going to get into the Tea Talks hotline. So we didn't have like any additional submissions except for the listener's comment, but I did get an article shared with me, and it's an article about what people regretted most before they died. And you can find this on lifehack.org. And I'm just going to go over a few that stood out to me. So the first one is I wish I had stood up for myself more. And I 100% agree because throughout life, you better not let these people walk all over you because you'll be so mad. And I understand when there's times that, when they go low, we go high. But at the same time, sometimes you just got to go low. Sometimes you just have to go low. And I'm not talking like super, super low, but low enough to let them know that they can't disrespect you. Because I think if you even let people think that they can disrespect you or play with you like that, it kind of just go up from there. Like I had to learn very quickly that I needed to stand up for myself or people was going to walk all over me, and that was not happening. I think that stands for friendships. I think that stands for romantic relationships because it just no. Stand up for yourself. Put your big girl panties on and let them people know who you are and what you about. Okay? Because people got to respect you. The second one is I wish I had followed my passions in life. Um I do feel like a lot of people play it safe, and they kind of silence their purpose. And I like this one because I always talk about how I feel like I'm not the most professional person. Um, I'm just, I don't fall into the professional category. And what I mean by that is I'm very straightforward at work, but I don't sugarcoat who I am anymore. Like I don't do the code switching. I mean, obviously I'm not going to be in there talking to people probably how I talk to my friends necessarily, but I'm still on like this level. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't finna be in there like all right, bitch, so like, what's up with the fiscal report? Like, that's that, no. But I am gonna be like, okay, so what are we doing? Did we get the information? Like, I'm here to find the solutions. And I definitely do it in a very spicy way. And it's just who I am. Like, I'm not about to sit here and kind of walk on eggshells to fall into this professional hat or category. And I feel like that is what kind of makes people not want to follow their passion these days. I also feel like cancel culture also plays a big part in a lot of this as well, because I think, people are so afraid to kind of be who they are, because social media, I'm like, this who you hired, this is who you hired. What's that Dr. Phil episode? Uh, dang, what was he saying? Is this your man? And I'm gonna stick beside him. Like, that's me. Like, yes, yes, yep, that's me. I'm gonna stick beside him, Steve. Oh, Dr. Phil. What did Dr. Phil? I don't know. But anywho, like, you gotta chase your passion. You at this right now, all we know is this, and I wouldn't say all we know, like, even if you are spiritual and you believe in heaven, or you believe in reincarnation, or you believe in whatever you believe in, right now we're living in this life. So while you are in this life, do all the things that you want to do, whatever you're passionate about, and even if you're passionate about it for 1 year and you switch it up, because I switch it up all the time. I got a homegirl, we always talking about some, I'm in this season. I'm this is what I'm on right now. And no judgment, because at least I know when we become some old bitches, I'm gonna be like, my girl done this. I'm gonna be up there being like, yeah, I done lived through all of it. Instead of being like, yeah, she was just this for the whole life. Like, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Do it all. Do it all while you can. Okay? There are people who wish they could have did the things that we do today, or even have like the ability to do the things that we do today. So go ahead and chase some dreams, okay? I'm like on my soapbox right now, telling you to chase your passions, okay? All right. The next one is, I wish I had taken more risk. And obviously we're not talking like no reckless risk, but the brave ones, the ones, that might have took you another extra mile. I feel like it's the same thing as like, scare money don't make no money, or going into a room that you feel like you don't belong in, but you really do belong in. Sitting at a table that you feel like you don't deserve a seat at, but you really do deserve a seat at. They waiting on you because they can't cook the things that you can cook, because they can't bring the things that you can bring to the table, right? Exactly. They can't bring that same aura that you will bring into that room. So make sure you take the risk. Because also, again, talking about another episode, what do you have to lose? The worst that can happen is they say no. The worst that can happen is that you fail and you get your ass right up again. Okay? I know you hear me. Take the risk. Other one is, I wish I had spent more time with my family. This one right here, absolutely. I feel like, I think back in the day, it was like work, 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 come home, eat dinner, go to bed. You miss everything with your child. Now it's a lot of people are fighting for work life balance. A lot of people are wanting the remote work. And I agree, because I remember growing up, and well, my mom was always around, but like when my mom had her work, she kind of worked on like Friday and Saturday. So there was things she couldn't go to. And granted, like when she was on vacation, she had a lot of vacation though. So I got to see her on vacation and stuff. But it's like, I can't imagine kids who really can't see their parents all the time. Or as a parent, you miss your child's milestones and all those good things. Like, no, not at all. Prioritize your family first, because what you like need in life, it will still come. Like, that's really how I feel. Like, if family is so important to you, then prioritize them and don't feel bad about it. Overall, all these things that were listed that we kind of talked like that I pointed out, they kind of all just go back full circle to showing up for yourself while you can, and also making sure that you're making the best of your life today, right? So you're taking the things that you learned in the past and you're applying them to today and your future, okay? That is the goal. So don't do it later, not someday. Do it now so we don't regret it, okay? Okay. And as a reminder, the hotline is available 24/7. You can submit comments, questions, stories, you name it, at the The'Ttalks.com. And now moving on to our Would You Rather segment. The more I talk, the more sick I get. All right, let's see. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. We, all right. Number 231. Would you rather be lost where there are no street signs to point the way or no people to ask? Be lost where there are no street signs or no people to ask. Dang, why are we feeling so slow? Be lost where there are no street signs to point the way. Okay, so like I can't be like, all right, that's MLK. I just start walking. Or no people to ask. So there's street signs, but I ain't talking to no. Oh, but I'm lost. Jeez. Um, I guess. Oh, but there's people. So no street signs, but I could go talk to Joe on the side of the road. He was like, "Yeah, head that way." Depends on where I'm at. I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead and make that. Head over there to that street up there. Take a right." Like, all right, my last night taking a right. Tell you that. Um, I think I'm gonna go with the no people to ask. I guess I'll be lost and ain't talking to nobody, but I can still see the streets. Okay, so it says so there are two cities ahead of you. In one city, all the people always tell the truth. In the other city, all the people always lie. You want to go to the truthful city. Suddenly, you come to an unmarked fork in the road. One road leads to the truthful city, and one leads to the lying city. Standing at the fork is a resident of one of those cities, but you don't know which city. You are allowed to ask her only one question. What should you ask that will get you on the correct road to the truthful city? Oh my gosh. Not the trick questions. I kind of like this though. All right, what would I ask her if I don't know if she's a liar or not? Oh my gosh, do you live in Truthful City? She'd be like, yeah, and she doesn't. Hmm. I don't know what question I would ask, but I'm going to give you guys what it says to do. All right, it says, be sure to ask which road leads to the city you're from. If she's from the truthful city, she'll point to the correct road. And if she's from the lying city, she'll point to the truthful city road. Bingo, you're as good. That's good. That makes sense. That is true. Wow, that was good. I kind of like that one. Oh, I don't kind of like it. I actually really like it. All right. Okay, and you guys know I switched it up. I like to give you guys a weekly coat. A weekly coat. I'm giving you a coat, baby. I'm giving you a coat. Stay warm because it's cold out here. No. Anywho, I am giving you a weekly quote to take with you into this next week. Since this past Monday was Martin Luther King's birthday, I decided to use a Martin Luther King quote. And this quote is, "Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase," which I felt like was perfect for this week's topic. And yes, so before we wrap everything up, I want to thank you for listening to the Tea Talks, and make sure you follow the podcast on all platforms at the The'TtalksPod. And remember, you can watch this full podcast visually on YouTube every Thursday. And if you have any questions, stories, or comments that you would like featured on an episode, make sure to submit them at thethetalks.com. Like always, I love you all. Stay safe, stay honest, and I'll talk with you next week. Bye.
It's Tiana Will, and you're listening to the Tea Talks.